look at the core practices in Kanban. So there are different practices, different ways of getting work done in Kanban. But essentially, as you would have noticed, it's all around revolving around the flow, around the work flow, how the work gets structured, and how you can actually kind of visualize that, plan it, control it better. So that's the essence of it. The most important thing that you should know is that Kanban doesn't have fixed iterations or time boxes, unlike Scrum. So Scrum actually is the center point of Scrum, and the whole cornerstone of Scrum is the sprint, which is actually kind of an iteration. So it is between 2 to 4 weeks. And then we've discussed it at length in the last session on Scrum, how you can structure the planning, the execution of sprint. Then you've got the sprint review, the sprint retrospective, and all those kind of ceremonies, as what we call it, the sprint events in Scrum. So they all revolve around the time box concept of the 2 to 4 weeks. But Kanban doesn't prescribe any time boxes. What it does ask you to do is to actually kind of limit the work in process of progress. So that's what it says. And it doesn't have a limit. When I say limit, it means that you're trying to minimize how much work is being done at the moment, rather than having too many things and then losing the focus. So it's kind of asking you to just focus on that. And it is not prescribing any kind of a specific time period in terms of, say, 2 to 4 weeks, or 2 months or 3 months. It doesn't say anything, or even days. No prescriptive suggestion in terms of the time boxing. That's a very, very, very fundamental difference that Kanban has with Scrum, from Scrum, and then even other agile methodologies. So there's no fixed iteration, no time boxing concept here. And then, as you know, the work actually moves through a flow, and that flow can actually be defined by you in terms of whatever work that you are doing. So, for example, in the context of the daily life that we have, it can actually kind of a very commonplace way of describing some work is basically, we have not started yet, and then we have started, it's still in progress, and then it's already done, it's completed. So these are the 3 stages of any kind of task that you can take. You can actually put it into one of these 3 baskets. So for example, if you have thought about something like going to the supermarket and buying some grocery, that's a task. So that task would actually be as simple as that. You have not started, right? So that could be the basic stuff. And once you go to the supermarket and you're doing your shopping, that is when it is work in progress. It is actually, you're doing the shopping. And then once you're done, you finished it. So that's, you came back home, you're sorting your groceries and then putting some in refrigerator or whatever. You're trying to sort out the stuff that you bought in the supermarket. That would conclude that task of going to the supermarket. So it's as simple as that. At any point of time, it is in one of those 3 stages. And similarly, in a software development lifecycle, every piece of work and task that you do would actually fall in. For example, you've got requirements, you've got analysis, design, development, deployment, and finally production. So in one of these 5 or 6 different stages, and you can further refine in terms of testing. For example, if it's being done in testing, then you can actually try and define that in terms of whether it is in the system testing, it's in the performance testing, or is it in the integration testing or user acceptance testing. You can refine it further. The lines, the swim lanes can be refined further and further when it comes to the software development life cycles. But still, at any point of time, it is in one particular stage in this flow. So it's very important, no matter what you do, what kind of task it is, no matter whether it's a ticket, a card that you created, a user story card, or whether it is a maintenance support ticket that you had created based on a customer feedback, everything, or it could be a task that you had created for your own life, as we discussed just now about the shopping in a supermarket. All of these could be defined as a task, and then we can actually we can track it through the flow where the task is at any point of time. It can be as simple as in the to do, or doing, or done, or it could be in the form of design, testing, deployment, any of these. It is completely flexible on that front. Kanban doesn't prescribe one way or the other to actually define these columns, the swim lanes. It's up to you. But the beauty is that you can actually come up with your own way that that matches your requirements in the context.